What's up, everybody? My name is Holly. Welcome to Traumedy Hour. Before I kick off episode 1, I want to address one of my major character flaws and prepare you for it because it will show up in every single episode. One of my main character flaws is my use of profanity. I cannot help it, okay? This is a part of my personality, and I'm an extremely expressive person who has been using profanity for 20 years. So I understand the accusations that it makes you sound tacky or less intelligent, but I don't fucking care. So profanity is going to be laced throughout my verbalization of life, and I'm okay with that, and I hope you are too. We have all heard worse things, I'm pretty sure. I can guarantee you that I will not be hurling profanities at any people. I do not believe in name calling, and I do not believe in, well, that's not true. I call people dicks all the time. I don't believe in bullying people and spewing hatred, so that will never come out of my mouth. But I say the F word and I say every other word in the alphabet. So if that makes you feel uncomfortable, this is not the podcast for you. I'm not going to change who I am. So at least not that part. Not yet. It's on my list. It's on my list of things to change about myself, but it's low on the list. I've got other things to work on that are more important, and I can only handle so much. Yeah, I don't care about profanity personally. I do believe in everything in moderation. So I will be moderating my use of profanity as best I can. I'm not going to go overboard. And I don't generally use profanity in a verbally assaulting way. So you can expect to hear curse words flying out of my mouth, which they happen subconsciously. I don't always know that it's happening, but I did notice when editing my videos, I noticed my use of profanity. So I just wanted to address that right off the bat. Deal with it. I would love to take episode 1, which is what this is. Welcome to episode 1. I'm going to tell you guys about how many times I have recorded episode 1 and how many things have gone absolutely haywire for me. And I thought this would be a great way to break the ice about dealing with life's traumedies. Not that I'm going to say the word Traumedy Hour over and over during this podcast, but I thought this would be a great opportunity to bring up the topic of just rolling with the punches, you know? That's a cliche phrase I'm sure we've all heard. Just, riding the waves of life and going with the flow and being an adaptable, flexible person. I can tell you, I am mostly known for being type A, very rigid and inflexible. So if anybody can change, it's me, and I have changed, and I would love to talk about that. So I have always been called controlling. I don't see myself as controlling. I see myself as very anxious, and typically anxious people have some wild behaviors, and one of those behaviors is control. Trying to control your environment and the people around you is sometimes, not always, a sign of anxiety and a lack of control in your life. So I think that for most of my young life, my childhood, my teen years, my 20s, I was definitely called controlling and bossy most of my first like 25 years of life. And it was not that long ago. I can see like in my family dynamics and in my past relationships and even in some of my friendships, like I can remember kind of a controlling, bossy version of myself. She's long gone. She's not long gone. I still have those instincts, but I've learned to manage my anxiety and fear a lot better. So I don't feel the need to control everything around me because I have learned that my control is within me and it's only about myself. I can only control myself. So I've learned that in the last few years, and that has helped me deal with a couple of recent things that did not go didn't go according to plan. I believe that in order to flex with life, I believe that life is a higher power, that like just human existence and living is beyond our control. So you can't control being born, you can't control dying, you can't control what happens to you in between being born and dying. So we have some control, but the universe is going to do what it's going to do. Life is going to do what it's going to do. And you can break your back trying to control it. It's not going to work. Trust me. I've tried literally everything. And, or you can accept the fact that life and the world and humanity is a greater force than you will ever be. So you might as well just learn how to be flexible, which is kind of where I came to. It was like, all right, pretty much everything in my life that I have planned out or tried to execute, things have always gone wrong. And I wouldn't even necessarily say that it's gone wrong. It's just gone the way it was supposed to go. And it wasn't what I had written down in my fucking checklist. So life is not a checklist. You can't write it down and have it go, the way that you want. Sometimes it does, but a lot of the time it does not. And I have experienced that recently in this first episode of this podcast. I'm sitting here filming this, recording this for the fourth time, and it does not bother me at all. It does not. I'm truly unbothered by the fact that I have thrown away about 8 to 10 hours worth of episode 1 that I've already recorded, edited, recorded again, edited again, recorded again. So I had technical difficulties. I had interruptions. I had the last one that I recorded, I actually fully edited it and decided not to post it because I didn't feel good about it. I didn't feel good about some of the things that I said, and I wanted to come back and do it right. So here I am for the fourth time filming episode 1. And I literally am not exaggerating when I say I have reached a point of not caring about the wasted time, the wasted creativity, the wasted energy. It wasn't wasted because you know what? I got better at editing. I got better at knowing like how to talk in these podcasts. I just look at it as those prior episodes were 3 practice rounds. And now I'm doing the real episode 1. And I'm still not scripting these. That's part of my struggle. I want to organically share what I'm thinking and feeling because that's how I show up best, is when I'm not scripted. So I care very much about that, and that's contributing to some of my struggles with getting started, is One, I go off the rails all the time. I do this in my real life conversations all the time. Maybe I'll use this podcast to improve my communication skills. I want to stay the course somewhat. I want to stay in the lane. I want to stay in my lane. And in the last attempt at episode 1, I wasn't staying in my lane. I was talking about things that I didn't have the right to talk about. So when I was editing it and listening back, I thought, I don't have the authority to talk about something I haven't personally experienced. So I'm not going to say anything like that. What I have personal experience in is this fucking podcast, for one, and how many times I've recorded it. And every time I do, I just get better and better. And I can't wait for like 100 episodes from now when I'm like fucking Cody Co. and I have my YouTube plaque and I'm just like a powerhouse. I'm just kidding. So I filmed the first episode 1. I feel like this podcast is going to be like Star Wars, where it's like, no, like the third one, but it came out first. Like, you know, episode 4, but it's actually like it's like the one that came out first, but that's what I feel like talking about my podcast. Fucking Star Wars. Like I'm releasing this like Star Wars and it's going to end like Game of Thrones. So get ready. Get ready to be fucking disappointed. No, I filmed it the first time, like, I don't know, almost 2 weeks ago, week or so ago. And it was on this new camera that I hadn't used before. And then when I looked at the footage, I was like, fuck that. And I'm taking that camera back. I am never going to use that because the footage was grainy and looked like VHS footage. So I threw that whole episode out. And then I recorded a totally different episode. Then like 2 days later, I did this like 90-minute episode about my mental health, and I kind of went to like a deep place talking about my history. And when I went to like towards the end of the like podcast episode, I noticed that my camera had stopped filming. And I started to panic, and I looked at the recording that had ended without my knowledge, and it had just literally cut me off in the middle of a word 14 minutes and 32 seconds into recording, and it was a 90-minute recording. So I thought. So that kind of defeated me for a minute, momentarily. I allowed myself to be really upset about that because I had put a lot of mental energy and tapped into like an emotional place that was vulnerable for me. And I talked about my mental health for 90 minutes for nothing, for no one. And it kind of upset me for the rest of the afternoon. I talked to my friends. I shed a couple tears. I was definitely upset about that. And then within a few hours, I kind of, I chewed on my feelings and I was like, you know what? I think I'll just take this as a learning opportunity and as a message from the universe that that's not the episode 1 that I'm supposed to do. And maybe don't run out the gate talking about my mental health problems. Let's just tiptoe towards that. Okay. I'll get there. I don't know if I want to, go off the high dive before I know how to take my floaties off. So I'll get to that later, but that kind of, that was just another example. So I threw out that whole recording, that episode. Actually, I still have it on my computer, but I'm not posting that shit. You guys can watch that when I'm dead. I'm kidding. You're not going to ever see it. I will post it on Patreon and make you pay for it. How about that? So I'm not going to share that. I'm not going to come out the gate with mental health problems. Let's dip our toes in about being flexible with life and the fucking curveballs that come flying at our faces at all times. So I also, like, in filming the first episode another time, like, My sound panels were falling off the wall. My microphone fell down. My batteries died on the thing in the middle of recording. Like, I have had multiple, like, little glitches and snafus and a wrench thrown in. Whatever cliche you want to use. I've had a lot of them just in the last, like, couple weeks, which honestly, I mean, my life is truly a Traumedy Hour. This is how my life is all the time. There's always something. It's like a goddamn television show. It's some of the stuff that goes on in my life you couldn't even write for TV. They should make an SNL, like, I don't even know. Comedy Central, hit me up. The other thing that I'm thinking about, it was just a couple days ago, which was 4th of July. Good old 4th of fucking July. I don't care about 4th of July. I don't wear red, white, and blue. I don't own an American flag. I don't care. Sorry. I just don't. I don't shoot fireworks off. I don't go to parties usually. Sometimes if I want to see my nieces, like I'll hang out with my family, but this year I decided to go kayaking with my friend and drive up north about an hour to this lake that I really love. And I haven't been able to kayak there before. So I said, let's go leave in the morning on 4th of July and drive up there with our kayaks and we can hang out for the whole day. We'll bring a picnic and go kayaking and take a walk on the trails and like just hang out. And then when everyone starts to get ready for fireworks, we'll go home. This is how I operate in life. I am constantly dodging people and crowds and events, like the queen of the Irish goodbye. I like to dip out when no one's looking. It's just easier. It's so much easier. Don't make me hug everybody, please. So 4th of July morning, I picked my friend up, strapped our kayaks to the roof rack on my 4Runner, and I bought new ratchet straps. This is going to be a really interesting story. Just hold on. I love talking about ratchet straps. No, I'm just kidding. So I bought new ratchet straps because the other ones that I have weren't long enough to go around both kayaks. So this is my first time with these new ratchet straps. I strapped them down. I fucking cinch these things down with my full body weight and make sure they're not budging because I'm about to drive on I-5 for an hour and I do not want my kayaks flying off on the freeway. I'm traumatized. I'm triggered. I've triggered myself. So I, like, within a few minutes of driving with this new ratchet strap situation, the strap was hitting the roof. It was like the wind was making the strap smack the roof of my car so loud. I couldn't even talk to my friend. It was so fucking loud. And I said, forget this. I'm not driving an hour with this loud ass noise. Like, we have no roof on. So I pulled off the highway and I went to fix the ratchet straps, but I had to like try to release them. I feel like this is so boring. I'm sorry. There's a point. There's a funny story at the end of this. Just hold on. So I try to fix the ratchet straps, but they're jammed up because I put too much slack in the ratchet thing and like they would not come out. So they were completely like locked up. And because I had just bought them, there was a set of 4 and I only had been using 2. So I said, fucking forget this. And I took the ones off that were locked up and I got the box out and I put the 2 new ones on there. And I did a better job of cinching them down without using too much slack. And I, again, used my full body weight. I totally like ratcheted those bad boys down. I could roll the car and they weren't going anywhere. So then we get back on the highway. We're driving for almost an hour. We're so close to the lake, like maybe 15, 20 minutes. And my kayak flies off. We're going 75 miles an hour on I-5 up north in Washington here. And I don't even really remember like the noise or what happened, but I just looked in the rearview mirror and my kayak, which is like 9 feet tall, is dangling and smacking the back of my 4Runner, and my friend's kayak is like sticking off the side of the driver's side. And I was like, Jesus, H Christ. I immediately put on my hazards and pulled into the shoulder, which by some miracle of God, there was room for me to get over. The kayaks were hanging by a literal thread. And I came to a stop in the right-hand shoulder, but it was this section of the highway it's a carpool lane, 2 more lanes, and a shoulder and a ditch. There was not a lot of room. I was very nervous. I was a little shaken up by the fact that my kayak just flew off at 75 miles an hour and could have killed someone. That was what shook me up, is that it could have easily gone through someone's windshield and killed them. It could have caused me to flip my car, or God only knows. I don't know. Somehow the kayak jerked. It jerked through the ratchet straps. So the ratchet straps didn't go anywhere. They were all intact. But my kayak the wind tried to push it out, and it got stuck on one of the screws. And so it was dangling by a thread. This little thread from the ratchet strap was wrapped around the screw, and that was what was holding my kayak on to my car. So I was having a nervous breakdown for like 2 minutes. I was just sitting in the car. I was shaking a little bit, kind of talking to my friend, like, all right, let me just collect my thoughts. She's going to hear this story. You were there, girl. You know. Yeah, so I had to collect myself for a few minutes. I was nervous to get out of the car this close to 80-mile-an-hour vehicles. I had my dog in the car with me. I got a friend with me. Like, there was a lot of things I was thinking about. How do I protect my friend and keep my dog from jumping onto the highway? And how do I get out of the car? You know, I know how dangerous it is to stand on the side of the freeway. All it takes is someone's side view mirror clipping you and you're fucking done, dude. They're going fast. A human body cannot compete with a car going that fast. There's just no way. So I was very nervous to get out and try to reattach the kayaks. But I did. I got out and I got my little stool to reach up because I can't reach up that high. I tried to get my kayak like untangled and get them both back on the roof because I couldn't fit them both inside the car. I'm out there for 5 or 10 minutes and a highway patrol officer pulls up while I'm struggling with these ratchet straps because, again, they got locked up from the force of the jerking of the kayak. So it locked the gears. I don't know what it was. I could not release the strap. It wouldn't go. So this highway patrol guy pulls up in a Camaro and he was like, hey, what's going on? And I said, my kayak flew off, but it got stuck on the strap. And I said, I cannot get these straps undone. If you can help me get the straps released, I can put the kayaks back, one in the car and one on top of the car. And I said, I told him how nervous I was to be on the side of the highway. And I said, I can't pull down. The ditch was too steep. I would have definitely tipped over. It wasn't like I could drive. If it was not steep, I would have just gone off-roading, no problem. But I couldn't do that. And I said, I was working this out with highway patrol. My friend stayed in the car with my dog because he was freaking out a little bit. I was like stressed out, which made him stressed out. So he was whining and like a little bit nervous. So my friend was helping with him. And I was troubleshooting with this highway patrol officer and we're trying to figure out like, can we get the ratchet straps to work? How are we going to get the fucking kayaks back? And I'm not even close to home. So it's not like I can just run back home. You know, I was 45 minutes from my house at this point. And I was telling him where we were going and he was super nice, like really nice. He was older than me. He could have been like my dad or something. I don't know. But as we're talking, another highway patrol trooper pulls up behind him and then they're both trying to help me with the ratchet straps and not a single one of us could get them unlocked. So I got me and 2 highway patrol guys working on 4 because I told them what happened earlier. I said the other 2 are locked up, but now these are locked up. I think these ratchet straps are fucking cheap and faulty, even though they were like $30. So I am standing there with these 2 troopers and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I can't fit both of the kayaks in my car. Should I hide one under this tree in the ditch, like, and then come back for it? Or what do you think? I'm like, what do you guys think I should do? And the first guy that got there in the Camaro, he was, I don't even know his name, Trooper Green or something. He said, I'll stay here on the side of the highway with one of the kayaks, and you put the other one in the back of your 4Runner inside and drive it to the highway patrol offices about 5 exits down and leave it there in our driveway. It's like a protected little lot that you can't see from the road. And he said, just leave it there. You can take it inside if you want, and then come back for the other one. And then you can go get new ratchet straps and then just attach them, come back to our office and like do what you got to do. And I said, okay, that's a good idea. And that's exactly what I did. I put my kayak in the back and he stayed on the side of the highway with my friend's kayak. And then we drove all the way to the trooper station. And they had like all the drunk driving cars lined up. They save all of those cars for demonstrations on the dangers of drunk driving. So I just put my kayak lined up with all the cars and then went back for the other kayak, went to Home Depot on the way and got ratchet straps, and then came back to the trooper station. They weren't there. They like went about their day. The 2 guys left. They did not help me further, which was fine. It wasn't like I needed them to help me put them back on my car. I just needed to get off the highway, which is what they helped me do. And then I strapped those bad boys back, one on top, one inside, and I went the rest of the 20 minutes or whatever to the lake. Instead of the drive taking just an hour to get to the lake, it ended up being 4 hours with all this hullabaloo. So I was irritated at the lost time. I had spiking adrenaline from the just like kind of surprise of the situation, made my adrenaline go through the roof. And I don't live a life where adrenaline is present. I live a very low adrenaline lifestyle. So this was a shock to my nervous system to have something like this happen. And we took a walk when we got there. We walked Odin, my friend and I, and we talked. And then after that, we brought the kayaks up to the like side of the lake, and we had a picnic. And we were like, I don't even want to go on the fucking kayak. We didn't even kayak. We didn't feel like it. I said I could take a nap right now. I'm so tired from the adrenaline crash, and just like this whole day did not go at all what I planned. It just was like, womp, womp, womp. Like it was a total buzzkill of a day. Kind of. I feel like my friend and I had a good time, and we had a lot of good conversations. So that was good. And we both maintained a good attitude. We didn't like let it ruin our day, but it was definitely stressful. And it was definitely not what I planned. And I had to roll with it. And I guess something else to know about me is that I handle a crisis pretty well. Sometimes I have panic attacks about certain things. That's pretty rare. That's like once a year at the most, I'll have a panic attack, but that is usually a very specific trigger. I do not get like panicky and anxiety. Like I don't freak out in a crisis. Something in me from living a very, very crisis heavy life it killed it. It killed my like crisis mode. So my crisis mode is, all right, let's think of a strategy to solve the immediate problem. Let me list out the steps in my head and let's just handle this. Like I don't freak out or melt down. I usually just go right to solving the problem. So luckily that's kind of what I did on 4th of July when that happened. And then we came home in time for dinner. I was not about to hang out and have a good time. We came home and I consumed some cannabis to help me calm down. This is a pro-cannabis household and a pro-cannabis podcast, so you can also deal with that along with the profanity. So I definitely took the edge off by smoking, which I prefer cannabis over alcohol. So that's usually my go-to, like, calm down substance. It's my only substance that I go to. So yeah, that's how I spent my 4th of July. I fell asleep on the couch at 9:30 after smoking. after smoking and eating a cheeseburger. I was not even disappointed by that, to be honest. I didn't care because, again, I don't fucking care about 4th of July. I think it's an overinflated holiday. Americans love any excuse to get shit-faced wasted and like be pyros and set stuff on fire and scream about their fucking freedom. And usually it's white people, so I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, what else? Yeah, that's just an example of things that don't work out. And honestly, that's just a drop in the bucket of my life. I mean, I have had many things not work out. My education, that has been a 15-year journey. My relationships, I have been married, I have been divorced, I have been engaged and called it off. I have had a lot of things that did not work out, and I am okay. I'm totally fine. I mean, the kayak story might make you say otherwise, but what I'm saying is I'm alive and I'm actually happier now than I have ever been. And I feel better about myself and my life now than I ever have. And a lot of that has to do with the hard work I've done to grow up and to handle my business like a bad bitch. And that's what I do. I love being strong and resilient and calm in a crisis. And those are traits that I love about myself and that I intentionally exercise at every opportunity. Those are muscles that I constantly exercise because those are things that I love to be. And it has made life increasingly easier to deal with. So I think one falsehood that I believed for a very long time, at least 20 years, was that life gets easier. And that is absolutely not true. If anything, life gets harder because the older you get, the more you know. And the more you know, the more you don't know. We all know that. The more knowledge and experience you get as you get older, life, you see things clearly whether you want to or not, for a lot of people. And that makes it, for me, more painful. The more I have to know and the more I have to see, it makes me hate this fucking earth so much. All the violence and the hatred. So anyways, it's like the older you get, life doesn't get easier. It absolutely does not get easier. I don't know where that came from. Who said that? It's not true. At least in my experience, it doesn't get easier. What gets easier is handling my own emotions and handling my reactions to life. That gets easier. And the better you are at handling your reactions to life, the easier your life will feel. Because again, you can't control any of it. You cannot control your own children. I guarantee you. You can only control yourself. And it's like our kids are fucking half our DNA and you can't even control that. You're fucked. You can only control you. And you can control what words fly out of your mouth. You can control what actions come out of you. You can't always control the thoughts that pop into your head, but you can control the filter of those thoughts. And there's a lot of control that we have over ourselves. I like to exercise control over myself a lot because it feels good. It feels good to be self-controlled and to be mature and to invest in myself in a way that makes my life better overall in the long term. Yeah, here I am going off the rails. I'm actually kind of proud of myself now that I say all this. I wasn't always like this. This is definitely a hard-earned personality. I was extremely shy and insecure most of my life. I don't feel that anyone at any point instilled self-esteem or like healthy confidence in me. I didn't know how to find that and how to tap into that and how to be that for myself. And so that was extremely confusing for me for the first 20 something years of my life. The desperate, like, am I good enough feeling, it was overwhelming. It completely ruled my life. The way that I felt was like, am I good enough for you? Am I good enough for you? Am I good enough for you? Am I good enough for this? Am I good enough for this? Am I doing this good enough? Like every fucking day, all day long, that's how I felt. If you think that sounds exhausting, you are correct. It was exhausting, which is why I have changed, because it's not sustainable. In my opinion, being insecure is not a sustainable way to be. It's exhausting to constantly be looking for external validation. And I'm not a perfect person. I don't want to be like, oh, I never seek external validation. I'm in a nice spot in my life where I've just recently achieved self-confidence and self-assurance. This is new, okay? Please do not take this as like me trying to be Jesus on the Mount telling you guys that I have never sinned. I'm just saying from the other side, I just made it. I just made it to this place where I don't feel insecure, and it is so worth it. It is so worth it. It's worth every single shitty thing I had to go through. All of the hard emotional work I've done in therapy, every minute is worth it to be this version of myself. And I'm proud of it. I'm super proud of it. Yeah. Applause. I'm just kidding. It has not made life easier. I do feel like life is always hard. It's always been hard. It's been hard for every human that's ever existed, for the most part, every generation. I mean, people have been around for a long time, and life has always been hard for all of them. I think that the older you get and the more access to information you get, it starts to feel harder, and you start to absorb more shitty things than perhaps people who lived before social media probably didn't see as much garbage as we do. We see way too much garbage. So it makes life feel insurmountable sometimes. It's like, why are we even here? This place sucks. Everyone's an asshole. It's death and disease and violence and greed. And it's like, what is even good anymore? I don't always feel like that. I'm half joking, you guys. Everybody calm down. Yeah, but you get better at dealing with life, or you can get better at dealing with life. Some people don't. I know people who do not. I know people who have no interest in becoming a better person, and I'm sorry for you. So you're missing out. You're missing out on less stress and less, like, I don't know, less expended energy on things that you can't control. It's just not worth it. And this is coming from a former control freak who people would laugh at me and tease me and make me cry because I was so controlling and so rigid about how I wanted things to be, and about my own life and about other people's life. When I was in my 20s, I had no fucking problem telling people unsolicited that I thought they were fucking up. And that's not appropriate. That's none of my business. I am not anybody's God, and I don't want to be. So I've learned to stay in my lane, and sometimes my kayak flies off, metaphorically. And then I just pull over and I figure it out, and then I get back on the highway. The other thing, when I think back on all the things in my life that have not gone according to plan, a lot of it is because I was trying to force and control those things into existence. So that's another side of it, where it's like, do you really want something that you had to force into existence, that you had to manipulate and be deceitful about, or like, I don't don't think I was an intentionally deceitful person, but I definitely think my fear and anxiety was so overpowering for most of my life that would I would betray myself and manipulate other people to try to ease my fears and my anxieties of just the general unknown. I wasn't actually like afraid of anything tangible. I was afraid of everything, of being misunderstood, of people not liking me. I was afraid of dying and burning in hell. I was afraid of, authority figures disagreeing with me. I was afraid of, not sharing the same opinion as people I loved. Everything made me feel anxious and insecure and scared for some reason. Because I don't think I ever had, like, I truly never felt like I had anyone just sit down with me and talk to me and get to know me and help me like get in touch with myself and my own self-confidence. That never happened for me. And I had to find that myself in my 30s, which is how I'm here right now. In my 30s, pretty well adjusted. It was a hard fought battle. But yeah, I didn't like my bossiness and control, like my controlling behaviors, which absolutely contributed to the demise of a lot of my relationships. I picked partners that weren't good for me, but I brought my own baggage to the relationship. And some of that baggage was control. And the control was based in fear and anxiety about, okay, if I have to control their perspective of me, and I have to control what they think of me, and I have to control what they see of me, and I have to control what other people see of them. And like, there was a lot of that, like I want everyone to like me. I want everyone to like my relationship. I want everything to be kosher at all times. I want everyone to be happy. Like, that was the place it was coming from. And every single time it was a shit show, and it blew up in my face. And that I had to go through a lot of those, explosive like life moments where I just was like, okay, I've tried everything. I've tried every angle. I've tried every tactic I can think of, and I can't control any of this. It always just pans out the way it's supposed to. And that's why I'm sitting here single and alone hosting a podcast in my apartment. Because this is where I'm supposed to be. This is who I'm supposed to be right now, and this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And I believe that. I truly believe that. And if it is not where I'm supposed to be, then I expect my phone to explode in my face right now to stop me from recording, because otherwise I'm just going to keep going. Talking to you, universe. On that note, I don't believe in God. I think that is probably not a surprise to most of you. I grew up extremely conservative Christian. I was an evangelical Christian, born and raised, and I started to question it when I was about 21. I think I was uncomfortable up until then. So the first 21 years, I could never find my groove with religion. And I was always like uncomfortable praying. I would do anything to get out of a fucking prayer. I have to go have diarrhea. Please don't make me pray. I would do anything to get away from praying out loud or praying in a group or like having to pray for another person. It just made me so uncomfortable. And I always just had that level of discomfort and like, I don't understand what's going on here. I wanted to believe. I wanted to be a part. Like I was trying to force it. Again, I was trying to force myself to be happy and religious like all these other people around me that I loved. And like, I want to have what they have, and I want to be a part of this club, and I'm going to make it happen even if it means betraying myself. God, what a classic theme in my life. So I feel like that's what I did. I betrayed myself and made myself feel uncomfortable for a really long time to be a part of a religion that I didn't really understand or believe. And then when I was 21, a bunch of shit went down, and it really brought to light for me the fact that people are people. Everyone is broken. And that includes Christians being hypocrites. I felt like, I mean, this is probably hard for some of you to hear because I know that some of you listening are my childhood friends that grew up with me in the church, and I appreciate you respecting this story and respecting my stance. So I'm putting that out there in advance. Please do not try to convert me back to any religion because it will never happen. I'm done. I was always done, I think. And then when I was 21 and all this shit went down in my life, and, you know, horrible things happened in my life that were truly not my fault. It was probably the most desperate, crashed, like, just train wreck of a year of my life ever. That was one of the worst years of my life. Top 2 or top 3, if not the top 1. And all these people that I had sat next to in church for over 10 years didn't say a word to me. They didn't check on me. Everybody knew what was happening in my life because they were talking about it behind my back. But not a single person asked me, "Are you okay? I heard what happened. Can we support you? Do you need anything?" Not a single fucking person. If you went to church with me all those years and you're listening to this, trust me, I remember. Nobody checked on me. And to this day, no one has ever asked me that I can remember. Maybe we've had a conversation that I forgot about, but yeah, I remember sitting in church for the last time in California. And I was looking around, and the pastor was telling us to invite our friends to church every fucking week. Make sure you invite your friends. And I was like looking around like, no, no, I've never invited my friends here. Not since I was a teenager. And I was like, why would I invite my friends here? For what? For you to get like a new Costco member? Like, it felt like a fucking membership to a club. And then what? And then they have a crisis and you guys disappear and you don't say anything and you're not available to support them and you don't check on them, and all the bullshit that you're preaching about, you don't actually follow through. And I can look back on my entire life. Oh, I'm starting to get heated now. If I had my Apple Watch on, I'm sure my blood pressure is above 95. I hope you're listening. I really do. I remember every single pastor that I've ever had in my life. I remember every single person that has been a strong figure in my life over the years in the church. And every single one of you have failed me and hurt me. And I was a child. I was a teenager. I was in my 20s. I needed help. And I felt like I got abused spiritually. Power was wielded over me. Lies were told about me. Things were taken away from me for no reason. It was truly traumatizing. I have spent therapy money to do like really hard work to heal those wounds because they have followed me through my entire life. The betrayal and the just straight up fuckery. It is fuckery, dude. It's some type of witchcraft, in my opinion. I think that everyone involved in my religious life growing up had the best of intentions, as you guys always do. But I think that you all were struggling with the same issues I did, which is control, coming from a place of fear. And every single religious leader that I've ever had, professors included, I went to a Christian university for a couple of years. It felt like you're wielding your power over me. And it wasn't just me, but I can only speak for myself. So I I'm trying really hard to be cool right now. I feel pissed off at this moment. At the trauma that I was left with at the hands of controlling religious adults who absolutely crushed my spirit as a teenager. I was never the same. I was never the same. After that year when I was 21, that year changed who I was as a person, and I needed more help and support that year than ever, and not a single person showed up for me, and I've never forgotten about that. So I hope that this is making people think about, maybe you're religious, maybe you're a Christian. I can respect that. I'm not going to join you, but I can respect your religion, and I hope that this story is got the wheels turning in your head about how you show up for people, because trust me, we fucking know. We know how we feel around you, and we know I know. I'm not going to say we, because I can only talk for myself. I think that organized religion does more harm than good. I really do. And if that is upsetting to you, I hope that you can make peace with my opinion, because that is my fucking stance, and it probably won't change. If it does, I'll let you know. But I think that organized religion is oppressive and controlling and limiting, and it unfairly targets, minorities, and a lot of religious leaders are white men. At least every single religious leader that I ever grew up with was a white man who wielded his power over me. And it was manipulation and control, and telling a teenager that they're going to burn in hell if they masturbate or have sex or do anything that Jesus said not to do. You're going to burn in flames for eternity. And you wonder why my anxiety and fear-based control was so prevalent, because the religion built it into me. Catholic guilt is not the only thing out there. There's other religious traumas that are ruining people's lives. And I feel incredibly lucky to have dug myself out of that fucking grave, because that's what it felt like to me. I felt like I was dying when I was in religion, and that's why I will never go back. So if you're sitting around, I'm sure that there are many people who love me very much who are religious. And like I said, I respect you. I have no problem with, people choosing what they want to choose. But if you bring that anywhere near me, trying to get me to do something, no, then you're out. You're out of my life. Like I said in my intro video, do not try to change me. I am capable of changing myself when I'm ready. I don't need anybody rejecting me or, looking upon me with pity like I need to convert to something, because poor Holly doesn't know what she's doing with her life. She's going to burn in hell. I don't believe in hell, okay? I don't believe that there is a hell. There's nothing for me to be afraid of. I don't believe in heaven, and I don't believe in hell, and I don't believe in Jesus. So there it is. I said it. I don't think I've actually outright said that. So now you know. I believe that that nature and the universe itself is my higher power. That there is a greater force than me, and I respect it, and I see that force in nature and in the operation of the universe. And I do not believe in an afterlife at all. I believe that when we are gone, we are gone, and your legacy and your what you have left behind is memories, as the memories people have of you and the legacy that you've left. And that's it. You aren't coming back like a butterfly. You aren't sitting in heaven with Jesus Christ. I do not believe that. So I hope you can respect my beliefs. And if you can't, there you go. Yeah, I think I also, like, I hope that if you're listening to this and you have different beliefs, I really do not want to see comments saying like, I'll be praying for you. Like, don't pray for me. Please don't pity my life, the life that I have chosen and built. It's insulting to me that you want to save me from this, because this is a life that I'm proud of. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of what I've accomplished. I'm proud of what I have become. I'm proud of how I've made it through everything. And for people to pray for me to be saved is a slap in the face, because I don't need to be saved from anything. I'm not going anywhere. When I'm dead, I will be dead, and it's gone. I don't believe in an afterlife. I don't know what to tell you. And I honestly sleep great at night thinking that. I'm not afraid of death now like I used to be. Terrified of taking risks. God forbid I get anywhere near death, because hell was so incredibly terrifying to me. I was crippled with fear because the concept of hell was so scary. And it feels great to not to accept that that's not a real place. I consider myself somewhat of an agnostic. Like, I don't believe that we can actually know. Maybe there is a God, maybe you guys are placing your bets on there being a God, and good for you, but I don't have enough evidence for me to buy into it. So I'm somewhat like, part of me, I'm somewhat like, maybe there is, maybe there's not. We can't really know. I don't think biologically, I don't think the human brain can comprehend whether there's a God or not. And if there is, I don't think we're intelligent enough beings to get him. But it's like, even Christians are like, it's you have to have faith. You're choosing to believe something that is not real. And I'm choosing to not believe in it. So my choice is equally valid. You're believing in something that I just don't think it's real. I think there's probably like spiritual forces in the world, I think things happen, but that are kind of unexplainable, but I think that is the universe and the power of nature. I don't think that there is a man in the sky doing stuff. And if he is, it's kind of scary that there's so much disgusting stuff happening in the world. Where's God? Where is he? Can you help us maybe? We could have used it a long time ago. Anyways, just some light anti-religion discussion. So I'm not here to hate on your religious beliefs. I think it's acceptable to practice what you want to practice, and to do that with other willing participants. But I truly don't think that you should be forcing that on unwilling participants, or participants who are not old enough or cognitive enough to consent. I have very strong feelings about consenting to your life and consenting to your beliefs. And I didn't get that opportunity. I was never given the option to consent to being a Christian. It was not a choice. It was, this is how it is. This is who we are. Questions? Save it. Yeah, I never felt like, I want to be careful talking about people that are still in my life, because I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to blast anybody. I'm not going to say names or anything. because that's not important. I'm talking about my experience and what I walked away feeling like, and it's valid. And whether you intended for me to be affected that way or not doesn't really matter. I was deeply traumatized by Christianity and the church, and it's like asking me to go back to someone who beats me. Why would I do that? Why would I go back to an abuser? I'll never do it. So if you're holding out hope for me to become a Christian again, you're going to be really disappointed, because it's not going to happen. I've outgrown it, and I've chosen a different life, and I love my life. I don't feel like I need to be saved from anything. And like I said, if that changes, you'll be the first to know. If I decide to convert to religion, I will come straight to my podcast and tell everybody. So you'll hear about it. But for right now, this is who I am. I like who I am. I like my life, and I don't want to be in a religion. It felt like it truly, I don't think I even finished telling my story. I was 21 when everything fell apart, and I realized, like, oh, everybody's a fucking hypocrite. They don't actually care about me. It's like an MLM. It's like a fucking network marketing club. You know, they're like, that you recruit Christians and then you don't actually do anything with them. You get people to be saved so you can feel like you got a jewel in your crown and you saved someone's soul, and then you don't show up for them when they need it because you weren't prepared for that. What are you talking about? I just needed to save you. Yeah, I felt like that kind of dawned on me when I was 21 and had that bad year. And then the next 4 years was me clawing my way out of it. So I stopped going to the church that I grew up in. That was the last Sunday that I sat in the service and looked around and was like, these people don't actually care that much about me, so I'm not coming back here. And I never did. I never came back. And then I moved to Seattle. That's a whole dramatic fiasco. No, that is its own story. But I relocated by myself to Seattle. And then when I got here, 2 people in my life, parental figures, were not my parents, but older adults that I had admired and, you know, had supported me in some ways, were telling me, you need to find a church. You know, did you find a church yet? You need to find a church. When I first got to Seattle, you know, that's how you're gonna, you know, network and build a community, and you're gonna get friends, and you need to find a church. So I started church shopping. I went to a bunch of different churches in Seattle. I was living on the north side in Ballard, if you know Seattle. So I was going to a lot of churches, and, you know, I'm not even going to say. I tried a few of them, and I just felt so uncomfortable, and no one approached me. No one talked to me. There was one church that I did go to and I ended up committing to for a year, and I started volunteering and just trying so hard to make it work. And it just never worked for me. It didn't feel right. And then eventually after a year, I just stopped going. I did do like this book study, a spiritual formation book study or something. I can't even remember. I think it was like a 12-step, spiritual, you know, general 12-step for, like, very vague. Christians love to be vague. Then you don't have to be accountable for the details. So I did this book study with a group of girls, and I still am connected with those girls, and I love you guys. I hope you're listening. You did not make me feel traumatized or pushed away or, yeah, you guys didn't crush my soul. That church didn't crush my spirit. I actually respected the pastor a lot, and he was why I kept coming back. He was extremely intelligent and very practical and very, very much spoke my language, but I just wasn't buying what he was selling. So I stopped going, and it felt like I got out of prison. I was like, I'm free. My Sundays are free. My mind is free. I started to feel free of the guilt and the shame and the constant fear and the manipulation, and it felt like leaving an abusive relationship. And I've never looked back, not for 1 second, and I never will. I know this is probably disappointing some people that are hearing this. And I understand that. I understand how that would feel from your side, but I am a wonderful, strong woman, and I don't feel like anything is missing from my life. I lead a very respectable, honest life, and a lot of people know me, the real me, and they love me and they support me, and that is all that I could ask for. So there ain't nothing missing, not looking for anything. And if God is real and he wants me to know him, then my ears are open. What's that? Silence? Okay, that's what I thought. Anyways, all that to say, you got to roll with the punches. You know, that all this does tie together. It all ties together for me in the way that I live my day-to-day life, because when you can let go of the fear of burning in hell someday and the responsibility to do everything according to God's word, and you let go of the fear that's associated with that, that in turn has made you controlling, my life transformed after that. After, like, my life started to really change when I was 25, and it really changed when I was 28. And it's changed even more now that I'm in my early 30s, approaching my mid 30s. It really is, it's getting better and better. And it's because I'm getting better and better. And I'm learning more, and I am, working hard on myself. That's the other thing I want to be clear about. Change, you don't just close your eyes and wake up changed. You have to work for it. It's like going to the gym. If you want to be emotionally mature, you need to exercise your emotional maturity. It doesn't just happen. So I'm grateful that I know that, and I do the hard work. You can ask my therapist. Shout out. Shout out to you. He has helped me so much, like, get to this version of myself. I've been seeing him for almost 3 years, I think, 2.5 years. And I found a therapist that I trust and respect and care about, who understands me and cares about me. And that has done more for me in 2.5 years than 25 years of Christianity ever did. So don't know what else to tell you. But yeah, it takes a lot of work to be a healthy, mature person, but it's worth it, because you know what? It's hard work to be alive. So you might as well do the hard work and be healthy than just be fucked up and have life be hard. Yeah. So anyways, that's that on that. I will continue to roll with the punches of life. I will continue to always get back up and keep on walking. I always have, and I always will. And none of that resiliency comes from religion. It comes from me getting up on my feet and walking forward every time I fall down. It's me, and sometimes it's me reaching out for a helping hand and saying, can someone pull me up? It's I'm too far down. I can't get out. And I've definitely had a few times where it was like that. And even recently, I go off the deep end sometimes, and I say, I need some fucking help. I need support. I need a hug. I need a vacation. I need a day off. I need something. I think that's another important life skill, is learning when and how to ask for help, because you can't ask people to live your life for you and to do all the heavy lifting for you. What's the point? That's like going to get ab implants instead of going to the gym. That's asking someone to to give you a shortcut when you need to do the hard work. So I don't believe in asking people to help me do everything all the time, every day. I think there is value in being challenged and making yourself live your own life. But there is absolutely value in knowing when to take a breath and say, I need some help. I cannot do this by myself. And that happens to me often. So a little on small scale, on medium scale, on large scale. I definitely had a time just in this last February where I was like desperately depressed, and I reached out for help. I needed help. I was hysterical. I was not myself. I didn't know who I was, and I couldn't get off the couch. Something was wrong. Something was really wrong with me. And I made a couple of phone calls. I called my therapist. I said, something is wrong and I need help. I called my best friends and I said, something is wrong. I need help. I called my boss and I said, something is wrong and I need you to help me by giving me time off. And yeah, I did what I had to do. I asked for help. I helped myself, and I got myself out of a rut. And that is what I will continue to do for the rest of my life as long as I'm able. And I wish the same for everyone, honestly. I hope that we all find what we're looking for and what we need. And I absolutely believe that my life is unique to me and my experiences are unique to me. And some of the tools that I've learned are unique to me. But there's definitely concepts and tools that I can share with others, which is the whole point of this fucking podcast. I do think there is, a lot of what I've learned from other people's lives, and I've learned from how other people did things. So I'm sharing because of how much I have benefited from other people sharing with me. And I really, truly hope that my stories and my lessons and my tools that I share help others in some way. Even one or two people. I mean, that would be amazing. If other people can look at my life and learn from it. I feel like that's part of the legacy I'm meant to leave behind. I truly feel that my life has been what it is because there is a story in it for others. And I've been through some crazy ass shit. We haven't even fucking hit the tip of the iceberg, baby. We got some crazy shit coming down the pipeline. And I have come to accept that I'm not a victim. I don't sit around saying, why did all these things happen in my life? What did I do to deserve it? It's like, oh, I think there's a story in here. I think that this is just my life and I don't ask questions and I just share things that I think might be helpful for other people. And if it's not helpful for other people, then I'm wasting my fucking breath. No, it's still fun for me to talk about myself. So don't get it twisted. Anyways, this is a good place to wrap up. I hope that you have felt something from this podcast. I don't even necessarily hope that you feel better after this. I hope that I'm have given you something to think about. That's what I really hope. And I hope that I've inspired you to look inside yourself and to pick yourself back up and to move forward, because Jesus Christ, dude, if anybody had a reason or two or three or four to give up, I feel like it was me. I've had many reasons to give up on my life and I never did, because there's goodness out here and I hope that you find it. I hope you're in it right now. I hope you've had it before. I hope you have it again. I hope you're doing well. I hope that you are okay. And if you're not, I hope that you can reach your hand out and say, I need help. And if you feel like you don't have anyone to reach out to for help, I hope you slide into my DMs, because I'm here and I get it. And I love to pay back what has been done for me, and that is to support and help people who need it. So If you need help, please reach out. If you need to talk to someone or you need me to connect you with someone, if you need help finding a therapist, you call me, baby. I'll help you. That's part of what I do. I care about you, and thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Can't wait to catch up with you on episode 2.